Yeah, I'm a little sweaty. I just got back from the gym. Hey, this is Glendon with Making Money with Storage Unit Auctions. This is a different kind of video. I did it in response to a comment I just received, and I thought I would do it while it was on my mind. It's in reference to my time at Northside Hospital. This is something that actually happened that left me for a moment really just kind of blown away. It was the mid-90s, I was working on the north side, and I worked second shift. Except for this particular day, I switched shifts with someone. So I was getting off, and it was weird. It was a weird day because, I switched shifts, and I worked an extra, 4 hours. So I was getting off about 6:30ish, almost 7 o'clock, because it was in the summer. So I had a post office box just around the corner. I was going to that post office box, and I drove up, and there was this guy. He was just standing there, and you would identify this guy as grunge, that movement or whatever. I don't know if it's still going on, but that's that look he had. The dirty hair, just a really grungy look, and he was just there on the stoop. And there was another car there, and there was no one else. I thought that was his car until I pulled up, and I noticed that there was a woman in the car. So I pull up, get out the car, then the woman immediately gets out of her car, and we're going up the stairs. Yes, she looked just like this. And he just kind of looks at us in a grungy way. And we get inside, and the woman kind of looks back. She said, "I am so glad that you pulled up. He was scaring me." I was like, "What? I used to be the boogeyman." I was like, whoa, wait. Because, that seriously left me affected for a long time because, what? I mean, she said that, and she was like, "Hey, if you don't mind, could you just wait until I get finished before we can go out together?" It's like, okay, some chick, don't know who she was, never seen her since. But the fact that she said that with such conviction, because it wasn't like, oh, she was just like, he's spooking the hell out. And he was spooky. He had that look. He kind of had that vacant, dead look in his eyes. So I don't know what's going on with him. But the whole thing is, the whole point that I want to make is that for black males that had a certain, I'm going to say, look or in a certain profession, life has been pretty damn good. And, in the course of working in the hospital, I always wore scrubs. Some people would buy scrubs. I would always go in the doctor's lounge or always get scrubs when we were out, throw them back in there and change them. I had at least 5-7 pair of scrubs. Some hospitals had a policy against that. Northside did not give a damn. I think there was a policy, but it was not enforced because then I know at one point they went from the plain scrubs to posting the name all over it, but I still wore those scrubs. I'm like, hey, you never know what's going to happen. You go in the patient's room and somebody can pee on you, or you never know. I've had to change clothes at work at least 12 times. All kinds of stuff happens. So they're in the lounge, they're free, whatever. So I wore that, and that's how I was dressed. Got out my car, and it was no nice car. It was a Mazda Protege. That's what I was driving back then, a little Mazda Protege. Got out the car, had my scrubs on, had my ID hanging from my belt from the because I had a shirt tucked in, and that's the look. I had hair back then, and the goatee. I was thinking I was looking kind of scruffy, but the thing is, and you get this in the black community, whatever that is, because there's so many people there, remember, with so many different personalities and wants and desires, that things have been really bad. No, things have been bad for people who fail to understand that this is the United States of America. This is no other country. This is a country founded by immigrants. All kinds of stuff goes on here. And I've seen it time and time again that someone from another shore with a radically different culture will assimilate just enough to make this thing work for them, whereas black folks who've been born here forever refuse. It's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pick up a book. Going with what Bill Cosby said years ago.
Hey, it's Fat Albert.
We're like, Bill, you shouldn't be saying that. Bill, no, it's not like that. And maybe it is, but you shouldn't be saying that. The white people, I'm like, shut the fuck up. What Bill Cosby said is the honest to goodness truth. There is a stigma against achievement for some black folk. There's a stigma against higher learning. There's a whole group of black folks who think they're going to be rappers, professional athletes, or some type of club promoter or entertainer. Now, there are people who are going to make those career choices and it's going to work. But it is like that big. You have a better chance of being a rocket scientist than getting in the NBA. That's the truth. Much greater chance. You have a better chance of getting a PhD than you do getting in the NBA. And another thing, when you get in there, you won't be in there that long. It's serious. I mean, just look at your favorite team. How many players that were there 5 years ago are there today? Every team, just go across the board. They shuffle them around like chess pieces. But the point that I want to make, the larger point, is true. Because I caught crap because I was like, I'm not living in the hood. I don't want to live in the hood. I'm not living there. And you say stuff like that and people are like, oh, you're not black enough. But my whole point is, if you apply yourself and you work hard, you will be successful. Now, does racism exist? Of course it does. If you are a member of the United States of America, we all hold a certain level of prejudice and discrimination against other people. It's an inherent part of living in this culture because a lot of people do not interact with other cultures. So they see that culture from across the room or across the way and they start thinking this stuff, because when you live in a neighborhood with a bunch of Asian people, you learn a lot of stuff like, the typically submissive Asian woman. Ain't like that. It ain't like that. Some are, some aren't.
Oh, that's right. I will kick your ass.
There's a whole lot that goes with that. And I lived in a neighborhood. There was a lot of Asians. There was a lot of Hispanics. From being in the military to having several white roommates. When you live, work, and deal with people on that personal level, you're going to learn a lot. And you're going to find out you're not that different. Now, when you have black folks, I'm going to say that, who absolutely refuse to have a really good white friend. I'm going to say it because, you hear this thing, it's like people self-segregate. You'll see it. It's like, I'm going to go there. And then the groups are like, hey, you're over there with those darkies, and you got to have courage and conviction of self to do you, because I would say that the younger generation is doing a much better job than my generation, but there's still work to be done. But you got people who absolutely refuse to extend themselves to someone in another culture. And I use the term race because that's easily understood, but I don't really believe in the concept of race, because you could take a black person, a yellow person, which would be Asian, some of them identify that way, and whatever, and they can mate with someone else and you produce a human being. You cannot screw a horse and produce a child. You cannot screw a lion. Lion may take your ass out before you're done, but you get the gist of my point. So all of this stuff is designed by the powers that be. One of my favorite books, The 48 Laws of Power. If you've never read it, check it out. That stuff is in effect right now against the masses, aka the sheeple. Because when you put yourself out there, you learn a lot. As long as you stay in these little, what I call reservoirs of protection, you don't learn shit. For all the guys out there, it's like, hey, I can't achieve, I can't do this ain't. this and that, and it's just bullshit. It is just bullshit. And I'm going to touching on the other sensitive issue of assimilation. You got a lot of people's like, I'm African, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. If you were born here, you're an American, that's your culture. If you were to travel, and I know a lot of people don't travel because when you go to Europe, you're not like a black American, you're freaking American, and Americans are not looked upon with a high level of regard. Used to be, you could go anywhere. In the 80s, you go to Europe, Germany, it was like you were American, you were a soldier. People were like, that's nice, that's a wonderful thing. Now, it's not so cool. It's not so cool. But that's a whole nother video. But my whole point is, this thing about you can't make it or there's no opportunity. And understand, I know a lot of black males are catching hell. I had a corporate job. I call it a little hell, but my revenge was to be the best there and to do well and be productive. That right there is just, take that. You know what? I'm kicking your ass professionally. How do you like those apples? Versus the bitching and the whining that accomplishes nothing. I had lunch with a friend, and he said, it's like, you really don't complain. I'm like, I've got 3 friends with cancer. I have another group of friends who don't have jobs. I know people who are sick. I know a lot of people who cannot do the thing they want to in life for, either due to self-imposed sanctions or whatever the reason. And every day I get up and I get to do me. What the hell do I have to complain about? I mean, seriously, what do I have to complain about? Sure, I go off on trolls because it's fun. I talk about people that send me crazy emails because it's fun. But the grand scheme of a lot of things, my life is like 99.8% great. So there is no point in just sitting here basically complaining about shit you can't change. There's no point in worrying about the past, which is also something you cannot change. I'm amazed at how many people live in the past and look at the future and completely ignore the present, which is where the real beauty is. But that, I just wanted to do this video real quick before I lost it, because I always wanted to share that story. And, a lot of my friends, they've heard it because, that whole boogeyman thing, it is deep. It is really, really deep. So just something, you can check into. And this is Glendon, making money with storage unit auctions.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by the Boogeyman Association of America. We detest, protest, and we will be suing Glenda's ass for this inflammatory video once we conclude with our Million Boogeyman March this coming fall. Please hug a boogeyman today. We're not that bad. Thank you, and have a great day.